Okay, so we're on page 26. We're going to be doing some finding the rule practice, which can be a little tricky. We tried this last time. It could be a little tricky, so the more practice we get, the better we will get at it. And this is going to help us too in 7th grade. In 7th grade, you do something similar to this. So the first one's actually done for us, unfortunately. So it'll kind of remind us what this means here about finding the rule. So position, we like to think of that as like the input. Value of the term is like the output. So we got the input, we got the output. So what we're trying to do is to see the connection between the input and the output. How are these numbers connected? Because that's what really a function is. It's a connection between the input numbers and the output numbers. And you can see here, to get from the input to the output, all you got to do is add 1. Add 1, and that works for all of them. So the rule has to work for every single one. So if you look here, if n was the input, and n could just be any number, to get the output, you just add 1 to it. So the rule would be n plus 1. And then there's a couple other inputs to check, and this person, whoever did this, could have been me, checked 10, got 11, 12, would get 13 by adding 1. So to describe it in words, it would just be add 1 to the position, or we might say add 1 to the input. And then the rule is just, well, n plus 1. All right, so we're going to try a couple of these, and I'm going to have you try one, and then we're going to look at 2-step functions. This is a 1-step function. Okay, so let's take a look at this. We have the input here. Here's the output. 1, then 4, 2, 5, 3, 6, 4, 7. Well, it looks like if you add 3, plus 3 would get you from the input to the output. Plus 3, plus 3. So whatever n is going to be the input. You're going to add 3 to it. So it would be n plus 3. So this would be the rule. That's the rule. Let's just check to see what we get for 10 and 12. So with 10, it would be 10 is the input, plus 3 would get you to 13. And if 12 is the input, plus 3 would get you to 15. Nice, nice. So it says describe the rule in words. Well, the rule is add 3. We can say to the position, but it's really, you can also say the input. Add 3 to the input. So whatever the input is, you just add 3 to get the output. Write the rule in symbols. Well, the rule is this, n plus 3. Whatever n is, that's the input. You're going to add 3 to it to get the output. Beautiful. All right. This next one here, let's try adding first. What's 1 plus 4? By the way, this is the input and the output. 1 plus 4 is 5. 2 plus 4 is 6. So it's not plus 4. Let's use multiplication maybe. 1 times 5 is 5. 2 times 5 is 10. 3 times 5 is 15. 4 times 5 is 20. So it looks like whatever the input is, we're going to multiply it by 5. So it'd be n times 5, or 5 times n. Well, what would it be for 10? Well, if 10 is the input, what would be the output? 10 times 5, 50. What about 12? 12 times 5, hopefully you can see this. Sorry if you couldn't. 12 times 5 would be 60. Okay, so the rule in words would be multiply input, whatever the input is, by 5. Write the rule in symbols. Well, you could do 5 times n or n times 5. Now this next one you're going to try on your own, but we have to change the numbers because this one, these are exactly the same. You can see 315, 315, 420, 4 and 20. So this is the same rule. So we're going to change the numbers here. Still going to be a one-stepper, but we're going to cross these out. So for 3, we'll put 21. For 4, we'll put 28. 5 would be 35. 6 is going to be a 42. So what you're going to do is you're going to find the rule. You're going to find out what the output is if you had 8 and 10. And then you're going to describe the rule in words and write the rule in symbols, just like we had done previously. So remember, this is a one-step one. So why don't you try that one now, and then when you're done, you can unpause it and we'll continue. Okie dokes. So at the end of the video, make sure to check when you're going to practice this one on your own. You should have just done that one. The answers will be on the assignment in like a Word document, or not a Word document, in a Google document. All right, so now we'll look at two-step functions, which again, this is something too we looked at last time. But these are two-step functions. We'll see why. So if we try to go from 1 to 7, maybe we can multiply by 7. 1 times 7 is 7. 2 times 7, though, is not 11. So I'm just going to jot this down and put output. Maybe add 6. 1 plus 6 is 7. 2 plus 6, though, is not 11. So this is a sign that this is probably a two-step function. You can see this is the function here. We're going to multiply by 4, then add 3. Let's just check this for a couple of them. 1 times 4 is 4, plus 3 is 7. 2 times 4 is 8, plus 3 is 11. And one way you can find this again is to look at what these numbers are increasing by. The output is going up by 4. It's going up by 4. So that means that you'd be multiplying by 4 each time. So like 4 times 4 is 16, and then you add 3 to get to 19. So if you're ever at a two-step function, you're like, I'm not sure what it is, look at how these numbers are changing, and that will show you maybe what to multiply by. So let's just check these real quick. 10 times 4 is 40, plus 3 would be 43. So that checks out. Okay. So again, we're going to write it as in words, and then we're going to write it as symbols. Okay, let's check this one out. This is a two-stepper. Let's just check to make sure, though. 1 times 4 is 4. 2 times 4 is not 6. We can add 3 maybe. 1 plus 3 is 4. 2 plus 3 is not 6. That stinks. So now we'll do a two-step. Let's see what these numbers are going up by, though. 1. These numbers appear to be going up by 2. So let's try times 2. Let's see if that works. 2 times 2 is, or 2 times 1, I'm sorry, is 2. Plus 2 is 4. So far, multiplied by 2, add 2 would work. Let's see if it works for this one. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 2 is 6. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 2 is 8. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 2 is 10. So it looks like you multiply it by 2. You multiply the input of the n by 2. By the way, this is the input, of course, and this is the output. And then you got to add 2. So 2 times 2, or 2 times 1 is 2, plus 2 is 4. Let's check 8. 2 times 8, 16, plus 2 would be 18. 2 times 10 is 20, plus 2 is 22. So look at that. Once we have the rule, we can find out really any input. If we're given any input, or really any output, we can find the other number. So this rule is what connects the inputs to the outputs. Let's describe the rule in words. All right, let's. So we're going to multiply the input by 2, then add 2. Write the rule in symbols. Okay, well, we already did. 2 times n plus 2. All right. Okay, this next one's actually a very famous word problem here. This one has more of a story to it a little bit. It says this table shows a relationship, which is like a function, between miles in a taxi and the cost of a taxi ride. So it looks like 1 mile, $7. 2 miles is 12. 3 is 17. 4 is 22. So it's a two-stepper, but let's try one step to see if it's a mistake. Let's try times 7. 1 times 7 is 7. 2 times 7, though, is not 12. Add 6, maybe. 1 plus 6 is 7. 2 plus 6 is not 12. So to find out what to multiply by, let's see what these numbers are going up by. This will tell us what to multiply by. Looks like these are going up by 5. So let's try it. 1 times 5 is 5. How do we get to 7? Well, we add 2. Let's see if that works here. So multiply by 5, then add 2. Let's see if that works. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 2 is 12. Oh. 5 times 3 is 15, plus 2 is 17. 5 times 4 is 20, plus 2 is 22. So whatever n is, we'll do 5 times n. We got the 5 times by looking at what the number goes up by. The output goes up by. The cost goes up by 5 each time. Plus 2. All right, so if you go 10 miles, it would be 5 times 10, which is 50, plus 2, which would be, that's quite an expensive ride there. And then 5 times, I'm just going to write this one down. 5 times 15 plus 2. Well, 5 times 15, do it off to the side here real quick. It's 25. It's going to be 75. Plus 2 is 77. So this would be 77 for 15 miles. That's quite expensive. But another thing I want you to notice is this. Let's say it was 0 miles. Let's put 0 in for n. 5 times 0 is 0 plus 2. So it still costs you $2 to go 0 miles. You're probably thinking, well, that makes no sense. Well, if you've ever ridden in a taxi, there's something called like a flat fee. So when you go into the taxi, you pay like $2 just to get in the taxi. And then it counts up like however many miles you go, that's how much you pay. So even if you went a tiny bit, you'd still have to pay that $2 just to get in the taxi, and then they charge you by the mile. So that plus $2, that's like the entrance fee almost to get into the taxi. And then the 5 times 5 would be $5 per mile. Describe the rule in words. So we're going to multiply miles, which is the input, by 5, then add 2. That $2 again is like getting into the taxi, the entrance fee. You only pay that once, which is why you're not multiplying it by anything. So write the rule in symbols would be 5 times n plus 2. Okie dokie. Well, let's try this little thing here. All right. This table shows a relationship between number of toppings and cost of pizza. Well, look at this. 0 toppings cost us still $9. What does that mean? Well, that means that, if you just buy a regular plain old cheese pizza with no toppings on it, it still costs you $9. So this doesn't mean that you're buying 0 pizzas. This just means you're getting a pizza with no toppings. You could do that, I suppose. All right, this is a 2-stepper. So we can't multiply by 0. We can't multiply by anything to get to 9. We can add 9, but 1 plus 9 is 10. So it's definitely not a 1-step. It's not a 1-step. So let's look at what these go up by. Looks like these are going up by 2. That means we're going to multiply by 2. Well, let's multiply by 2. What's 0 times 2? That's 0. Then what would we have to add to get to 9? We'd have to add 9. So times 2 plus 9. Let's see if that works. 2 times 1 is 2. Plus 9 would be 11. 2 plus 9 is 11. 2 times 2 is 4. Plus 9 would get you to 13. 2 times 3 is 6. Plus 9 would get you to 15. So it looks like we're doing 2 times the number of toppings. It must be $2 per topping. Plus the $9. Now that $9 is just the cost of the plain old cheese pizza. So if you're buying a pizza, you're paying $9 for the pizza and then $2 per topping, it looks like. So if you get 8 toppings, which would be ambitious, that's 2 times 8, which is 16, plus 9, 16 plus 9, that would be $25. That's quite a pizza there. And then 9 toppings, 2 times 9 would be 9 toppings, plus 9. 2 times 9 is 18. 18 plus 9 would be $27 for a 9-topping pizza. Nice. Quite expensive. So what would the rule in words be? Well, the rule would be multiply toppings by 2, then add 9. And 9, again, is the cost of just the regular old, plain old cheese pizza. Still good pizza, though. Write the rule in symbols. We've already written that. It's 2 times n plus 9. So that one's a little tricky because you start with the 0. All right, so what I want you to try is if we go to the next page. Oh, that's page 26. Go to page 28. This one's very similar to the pizza one we just did. So go ahead, pause the video, try this one, which is similar to the pizza one. This is a 2-stepper, so you might want to look at how these go up. That will tell you maybe what to multiply by. This is a 2-step one. Okay? And then we'll talk about this one later. All right. So pause the video, try that one. Unpause when you're done. Okie dokie. Okie dokie. I think for the 2 I had to do by yourself, I'm gonna have an answer video instead of a document. I'm gonna make an answer video that you can watch to go over those 2 ones real quick. All right, but this is the last thing we're gonna do here. This is slightly different than writing or finding the rule. This is writing an equation for a function. We're just gonna try a couple of these examples to help us here. So we're gonna be doing more of this later in the unit. So number 1, a frozen yogurt store charges $5 per bowl of frozen yogurt plus $2 per topping. Write an equation to show the cost C of a bowl of frozen yogurt with n toppings. Looks like we have 2 variables here. So we're going to write 2 let statements. We're going to let C equal something, then we're going to let n equal something. So what's C equal? C equals cost of a bowl of froyo. I'm going to put froyo, frozen yogurt. So C is the cost of the bowl of frozen yogurt. N appears to be the number of toppings you get. Okay. Now, to write an equation like this, you want to think which one's the total. Which of these 2 variables would be the total? The cost of the bowl of froyo, that's the whole thing, or the number of toppings you get. I'm thinking that C, that's going to be the total. This is the total cost of the whole bowl. So when you write an equation like this, the total will go by itself. Okay? The total will go by itself. So we're going to have C equals something. That's the total cost. We got the total here. How do you find the total? Well, it's $5 for just the plain frozen yogurt on its own. So it's $5 for that. But you can also get toppings. And the toppings are $2 per topping. But how many toppings do you get? Well, we have a let statement for that. We don't know how many toppings we're getting. But however many toppings we get, we're going to multiply it by 2. So $5 is just the plain old bowl, plus n times 2 would give you the cost of the, toppings. So 5 is the cost of the plain bowl, plus n, we already know what n is, that's the number of toppings. $2 is the cost per topping. So this is like the amount of toppings, or the cost per topping would give you this. So if you take the plain bowl plus the cost of the toppings, that will give you the total cost. So that's what an equation might look like for this function. All right, so let's find the total cost of the bowl. We'll do C equals 5 plus n times 2. We're going to get 5 toppings. So instead of n, we'll put 5. So the total cost equals $5 for the plain bowl plus 5 times 2, which is, again, we're getting 5 toppings. C equals, well, we have to do this first, 5 plus 10, and then C equals 15. So the cost of a frozen yogurt bowl with 5 toppings would be $15. We're not going to do the one below it. I just wanted to show you what something like that might look like. So make sure that when you're done with this, it's going to be a really quick video. Just watch it for the answers to the ones you tried on your own. All right, if you have any questions about this, let me know. Have a great day, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.